This video is going to be a film study look at a second-year player who seems primed to take off in the regular season if he gets the opportunity, and that's Steelers outside linebacker Nick Herbig. He had 3 sacks last year as a rookie, only played 191 snaps in one game late in the season against the Patriots. I think he played like 45 or 48 snaps, 7 or 8 tackles, so performed quite well. But through the preseason so far, he's got 3.5 sacks, 4 other quarterback hits. Yesterday, Saturday, against the Lions, of course, Hendon Hooker led a comeback. The Lions win the game 24-17. I'm going to focus on the first 3 or 4 possessions here for Detroit's offense. The Steelers' defense went forced fumble, punt, punt, punt by Detroit's offense. Through those first 4 possessions, Detroit had run 18 offensive plays and produced 5 total yards. In fact, the first 2 series, when I noticed Herbig on the field, they didn't gain a single yard. Herbig had 2 sacks and a forced fumble yesterday, 1 run stop. He's an extremely impressive player. Of course, he's caught behind 2 elite high-level pass rushers, and so there will be times where he doesn't play very often. It's a unbelievable amount of talent that the Steelers have if you accept that a guy like Nick Herbig is going to be able to do these things in the regular season. So this is going to be first possession. He's going to beat the right tackle, Sorsdahl, who quality offensive lineman for the Lions, tries to go to the top side. Herbig is 51, by the way. Tries to go to the top side, and the running back ends up chipping him, spins back to the inside. Both D tackles have edged or flowed over to this side, and happens to work out that Herbig, who's an extremely underrated athlete, can spin back to the inside and get the sack. It's a 5-1 look on defense, so forcing all 5 offensive linemen to deal with someone in the pass rush. There's your 3 interior rushers, 2 edge defenders, outside linebackers, if you will. The Steelers have 11 sacks through 3 preseason games. Herbig, like I said, has 3.5 of them. Multiple other guys have been involved as well. I mean, TJ Watt is obviously the premier guy that they've got there. First possession still, we're talking about a second and 15. This sack is going to be split by 2 young defensive linemen for the Steelers. Of course, Benton is a very talented guy that they drafted, I think, in 2023. Doesn't necessarily win initially. They're running a game here off our right side, their left side. We'll give you the end zone, or excuse me, the all-22 angle of this one, so you can see perhaps why Hendon Hooker ends up double pumping on this, looking like he's going to throw initially. And again, you'll see it here. You'll see it here in a moment. 1 pump and then a second one. So he's moving right to left with his reads on the all-22 that you get here in a moment. It'll be from the bottom side to the top. This is the same play. It's a second and 15, 7-yard sack split by Benton and Liao. So what I think ends up happening here is these 2 receivers almost end up in the same lane. You know, most lanes are either vertical or horizontal. We're going to cant this a little bit, 45-degree angle. They're both basically able to be covered by this corner here. And when Donovan Peoples-Jones kind of starts to sit down in this window near the top of the numbers, the inside linebacker Patrick Queen flowing over there has forced or dissuaded Hendon Hooker from throwing it. By the time he comes back to the middle, it's all over. So the coverage sack, if you want to call it, but the coverage and the pass rush are linked. And in this case, the releases of these 2 receivers down the bottom really gave Hendon Hooker nothing to do. He starts to pump fake here, but this corner's working to the outside. Patrick Queen would potentially be in the window here of Donovan Peoples-Jones, like I said. Hooker really has nowhere to go. Pocket collapse. Second sack just on the first possession. 3rd sack on the 4th possession. And again, we'll give you both angle views of this one. Herbig is an impressive guy. His brother was already on this team. I think his brother's actually been hurt in the preseason. He's an offensive lineman for the Steelers. It seems like they just keep drafting these guys, dating back to a time when they had TJ Watt. This is a strip sack by Nick Herbig against the right tackle. Again, it's Sorsdahl. And when you get the end zone angle, you'll see the timing of it. The jump and then swat down with the inside arm, the right hand, and then slap through with the left hand as he's running by him. Essentially, he's running by him. It's a high-level move, and he times it up perfectly. Tight end happens to motion away. It's a 3rd and 22. I think Golden Tate was the Lions announcer for this, and he talked about, hey, why don't we just run a safe play and get us out of here as a lost possession? Getting back to Herbig, you can see the swat down with the right hand, and then clears with another swat down with the left hand, keeps his chest and eyes focused on the quarterback. Not able to really hit him solid, but is able to get the hand on the ball as Hooker's trying to deliver it. It looked like over the middle. Ends up being a strip sack that the Steelers recovered. Second possession, no sacks on this one. Surprise, surprise. Ends up being a run concept. Pretty cool run concept, if you ask me, by the Lions. Running back cuts it back to Herbig, who makes the tackle for a 3-yard gain. But check out what they're doing here. It's going to be a counter scheme, pulling the guard, kick out. Fullback is going to release to the left side of the midline, and then Jay back to the front side inside linebacker. Steelers are trying to condense all this down. There's the kick out block by the guard on the edge defender, and here's the front side inside linebacker. So they've both taken it on outside arm free. Running back has potentially got this lane here, ends up winding it back, and Herbig is a little bit up the field here, but ends up peeling back underneath of Mitchell to make the tackle. I think it goes down as a 3 or 4 yard gain. Cool scheme. Running back takes it through the backside, and the Steelers close it off. As a Ravens fan, certainly get to watch a lot of Steelers defense. When Greg Roman was the offensive coordinator, you saw a lot of this stuff, them trying to sell out to stop the run, but they're also very good at stopping the run, if you ask me, with a lighter box. Trying the same move, not Herbig necessarily, but it's the other side. Edge rusher Herbig's here, but that's not the guy I'm focusing on this one. 98, pretty much trying the same move on Sorsdahl. Slightly different timing for the way that it works out. You can see Sorsdahl is able to pull his hand back and up just enough that 98 wasn't able to swat down. And then he's able to ride 98 out of there. You wonder if 98 had run that move first and then Herbig later, if it would have worked for 98 initially and then not for Herbig on the second attempt at it. Give the all 22 of that one. Oh, my apologies. I thought we did. Moving on, third possession. This is another guy who's got multiple sacks in the preseason. I think it's Welshoff. Forgive me for mispronouncing that name. Under center by Hooker. Little play action concept. And the Steelers certainly creating a lot of chaos in the pocket. 48 Welshoff and Mark Robinson, who's an underrated inside linebacker, generally known as a run stopper. Those guys are both there. Welshoff is a guy who gets solitary credit for the sack. As you can see, Herbig is off the field. I do wonder if Herbig would be a starter on multiple other teams in the NFL. Still second possession, same play. All 22 angle. Welshoff is down here, but you'll see the nature of these guys coming forward and collapsing this pocket on Hooker. On the play action concept, those inside linebackers coming downhill, creating just a mess out of everything, and 48 happens to be the beneficiary. It seemed like Hooker on the first 4 possessions was really either had a collapsed pocket or no one open, like we showed on, I think, at least one of the pass concepts. Or in this case, the pocket on a 4-man rush is being pretty much walked right back into him. And then he's really got only 2 choices, both of which are possibly bad or negative. Throw the ball underneath against the zone, which is what the Steelers want here, or scramble, and in this case, he only ends up getting 6 or 7 yards. I'm always interested in some of these teams as we get to roster cutdown day. Nick Herbig, second-year player, drafted, I think, 4th round out of Wisconsin by the Steelers. Brother already on the team, under no pretenses that he would potentially be a cut. But there's other teams that look at players like this and are like, hey, this guy could start for us. NFL doesn't seem to be as quick to trade people, and you wouldn't be under any motivation from a Steelers perspective to trade Nick Herbig, even though he is behind Highsmith and Watt, 2 high-level edge rushers, 12, 14, 15, 16 sacks per season. Book it for those 2 guys. Herbig, it just seems to be a matter, if you ask me, of how many snaps is he going to get. I did a film study video of him last year, and I thought he was really impressive. And then he only got, I think it was 192 or 191 reps overall, or snaps overall on defense. in the regular season. And certainly with TJ Watt and Highsmith both being healthy for 17 games, you don't need him out there. Other teams would look at him, I think. I'm looking at him right now as a Ravens fan or a Lions fan and thinking, hey, this is a guy who could get on the field in some of those situations. Other teams don't have the depth at all that the Steelers have at edge defender, outside linebacker, and I think would be looking at Herbig as a starter. He's an impressive guy. Like I said, 3.5 sacks so far in the preseason. The Steelers overall have 11 sacks. I believe it's 7 different players who've combined for those 11 sacks. Maybe it's 6. I could be wrong there. But nonetheless, this is my film study breakdown of Nick Herbig and the Steelers defense, how they really dismantled the Lions passing game on the first 4 possessions. And then and I'll have a further film study that'll be Lions-centric or Lions-focused on how Hendon Hooker and the second and third stringers for Detroit were able to get a come-from-behind victory. Appreciate you guys' time.